Hey everybody, and welcome to Cognitive Psychology. What I wanted this video to basically be is a quick tutorial on what the class is, but also how to navigate Plato. Welcome to the class. I am super excited that you're here, and I will also say that I think that this might be my favorite class to teach, maybe. It's either this or History and Systems of Psychology. I really like both of them. So I'm super excited to work with you this semester. I'm super excited to talk about this stuff with you this semester. This semester is really, really weird because we're coming off of spring semester, which was all of the quarantine measures and stuff like that. And so even though this class was already going to be online, I know that a lot of our lives are really weird, difficult, and unpredictable right now. So I'll get more into that in just a little bit. All right, so this is what you're going to see whenever you log in. You're going to see the splash page. If you don't know just yet, you can always I'll show you where to find it just in case you're not familiar with it. But yeah, you'll hit Cognitive Psychology. It's going to bring you to this page. This is where you're going to see the announcements. I'm typically only going to give you 1 or 2 announcements a week. You'll see right now there's no announcements because I haven't posted this video yet. But this is where you'll see things like what are we talking about this week and what is due at the end of the week. Alright, so let's kind of look at each of these pieces. You can see that I already have the class kind of measured out for the most part. I'm going to put us in student preview mode right now. I'm not done recording all of the videos, so I'm not going to make it all open to you just yet, but just know that a lot of stuff is already in place. Alright, so this is what you would see here on the left. And so here are the important things. We got announcements, this is where we are, the course calendar, which will be really helpful, and then we have this communications tab. So let's check out the communications tab first. This is where you're going to be able to find a lot of contact info. The most important thing about this page, though, is honestly the best way to reach me right now is going to be through email. I'm not typically on campus that much right now because of the COVID stuff, but email, I reliably check it, you can pretty much predict that I will get to you within 24 hours if you email me. If you use the Ask Alex Anything link right here, this is a spot where you can ask questions for the class, but here's the problem. I don't get those notifications, and so I have to remember to manually look at it, and sometimes whenever I do that, days have already passed by, and usually by that point, that person has already emailed me to ask me. So as much as this can be helpful, honestly, the most reliable way of communication is going to be through this email. A lot of professors use Zoom. If you want to use Zoom to meet face to face, I'm happy to do that. There's also this online office tool, which you'll see is takes you to Blackboard's own version of Zoom, but you don't have to download anything. You can use it on your phones and stuff like that. It's fine. It's not perfect, but it's a quick, easy way to meet up with me. Just let me know you want to meet, and we can work out when and where you want to meet. All right, so the course calendar. The course calendar over here on the left. So we're only in this class for 6 weeks, so you can get a feel for that there. Now, with that said, this is 6 weeks. This is a lot of material crammed into a very short time frame. I know that summer classes can sometimes feel like you don't get everything you normally do out of a semester, but really what I did for this class when I was designing it is I thought of what are all the assignments and what is all the content that I typically do in a normal semester, and how can I break it up into ways that make sense that we can tackle week by week. So we're going to cover all the same material that you would normally in a 15-week course. Now we're just doing it much faster. So this week, really the only thing that we're going to be doing is just kind of introducing ourselves and getting familiar with the course content. There's not going to be anything due this Sunday night. But the next Sunday night, that's whenever you will want to, for example, you can look over here, you see that you have quizzes and discussions that are going to be due for the first 4 chapters, a research quiz, and an exam. So within 2 weeks, you'll want to complete all of that stuff. The next week is also really, really heavy workload, but after that, it is going to ease up as we start looking at some of these longer chapters. And then the final week of class, we're just going to have that space to relax, review, and then take the final exam. So that's the course calendar. You can find it there. You can also find it in the back of your syllabus. Which, speaking of the syllabus, let's take a look at what the syllabus is. If you click on syllabus and syllabus and rubrics, you can find a lot of other course material here. We got the course syllabus right here. We got a discussion rubric right here. But for now, let's focus on the course syllabus. So this is what it should look like. Excuse me. I'm going to blow it up so that you can maybe see a little bit better. So this is basically, I'm trying to give you all the information that you might need to know in case you don't watch this video for the syllabus. But I'll go through each of these big ideas in just a second. All right. So I already emailed you about the text. I do consider this text required because the course quizzes or the chapter quizzes come directly from these chapters. But even though the bookstore is going to tell you the 7th edition, the 6th edition is just fine. I like the 6th edition a lot. The 7th edition I like a little bit more, but honestly, there's not enough differences in the chapters to really warrant you to get the newest edition that you can. And also, I sent you out that email with a digital copy of the textbook, just in case you can't afford this stuff right now, because trust me, I know what it's like to have to make important decisions about textbooks and paying the bills and stuff like that. I don't want you to be put in that spot. So feel free to use that textbook that I sent you. It's the same one as the 6th edition there. All right, so and this basically is going to explain what cognitive psychology is. You're going to learn a lot about that in just a little bit in the Chapter 1 videos and slides. But honestly, what cognitive psychology is kind of the study of internal mechanisms of behavior. What does that mean? Usually it means thought. Usually it means behaviors that you can't directly see. So think about like language acquisition. You can think about memory. You can think about judgment and decision making. You can think about consciousness. You can think about attention, visual perception, object recognition. A lot of these things that you might not talk about in other classes because, like, I don't know, not to get into a whole tangent because we're going to get there, cognitive psychology is pretty new. And so things like ABA, things like learning, things like physiological psychology, those actually predate cognitive psychology. Cognitive psychology is only as recent as the 50s and 60s, whereas others are much older. So what we're going to be talking about in this course might be different, or a different take, a different perspective than you get in some of those other classes. But it is a basic processes course, which generally means that there's lots of details and that it feels sciencey, whatever that means. Anyways, that's what the course overview is telling us about. All right, so here are, here are the different exams, or the different assessments and assignments. We have exams, which are going to count overall for a half of your grade, and these are all we have 4 of them. So each of those are roughly a letter grade. So if you don't do one of them, it takes off a letter grade. Not to scare you. That just shows you kind of how much they weigh. They weigh a pretty good amount, but they're not going to. If you do bad on one exam, it's not going to tank your grade. We're going to have chapter quizzes, which overall count for a 5th of your grade. We have chapter activities and discussions, which are going to be a 5th of your grade, and then we have research quizzes, which will be a 10th of your grade. So what are each of these things? The exams, basically, these are going to come from all manner of different contents. So it could be videos that I've posted, it could be the textbook, it could also be the chapter activities that we do, or the research quiz. All these things are fair game for the exam. I will let you know what things you should focus on most and which other things are too detail-oriented to worry about. The exams for right now, I'm going to plan on them being a mix of short answer and fill in the blank. If you turn out that you don't like that format and you prefer multiple choice, then we can switch to multiple choice instead of fill in the blank if you want to. Quizzes, these are going to be worth a 5th of your grade. These are going to be roughly 12 questions, somewhere between 10 and 15 questions. They're all multiple choice, and they're all taken directly from the chapters. So basically the whole purpose of this is just to get you to engage with the chapter, open up the book, and hopefully read ahead if you can. But only your first attempt at these are going to count. Those are going to be due Sunday by midnight, so at the very, very end of the week. Research article quizzes. These are the research quizzes. You're going to have one of these per unit, so one of these per exam, basically. And so these are, you'll have a research article, which is going to dive in depth in a specific area of the unit, which chapters we've been talking about. And it's going to ask you very particular questions about that. Typically, in the previous times I've taught this class, I did a research paper that was due for each exam also. But honestly, I didn't feel like students were getting a lot out of it. What I found is that a lot of students were just kind of reiterating what they read instead of like really synthesizing and thinking about it. And so these quizzes are meant to get you into the chapter and get you thinking and reflecting about specific things that I point out. Those are also going to be due Sunday by midnight. We have the chapter activities. These are these online discussions where basically you jump in there and there's going to be some kind of chapter related activity online that you can do. So as an example, one of them in, I think, chapter 3 is going to do, or chapter 4 is going to have you try to be a face detector, where you're going to try to perceive different faces and see how good you are at doing these faces whenever they have certain features added or removed. That's all, you can do it all online, and that's kind of the activity. Give you some hands-on experience with cognitive psychology. And if you want a rubric about what it takes to get a perfect score on a discussion, you can find that on a separate rubric, which is back on Plato. But basically, these are graded out of 10 points. Just try to, don't just do the bare minimum. Sometimes people feel inclined to do the bare minimum. If you do the bare minimum, you're not going to get full credit. You'll want to flesh out your answer, try to tie it into something that we've connected, or connect it with something we've talked about in class, or not in class, but in the chapter and things like that. And then finally, there might be some extra credit that comes out throughout the semester, and I will let you know what to look for when those opportunities occur. There are just these different policies and support mechanisms that we have. Basically, the makeup policy. This is a little bit of a secret. In the syllabus, you're going to see here that it says that there's no makeup policy, that if you miss an assignment, then it doesn't matter. But I'm going to be honest with you, and don't tell my other semesters that I'm doing this, but because of what's going on with like the coronavirus or whatever, I'm not going to enforce any of these deadlines. If you feel like you can't do the exam by a certain time, it's okay to push it off. I'm going to highly recommend, I'm going to plead you to not do that though, because it's very, very easy to get left behind in this class because we do move so quickly. But if there is a moment where it's going to take you another 48 hours and you're working hard, you're taking care of your kids, you're busy at work and you're slammed and you don't have time to really focus on the exam, it's okay to put that off a couple of days. The downside of that, not only will it kind of make you feel like you're behind, but also I'm going to prioritize the grades that came in before those deadlines too. So I'm just letting you know that stuff, even though the syllabus says a little bit different. I put this in the syllabus because I want you to stay on top of it. But the honest truth is that I'm not going to enforce that policy. All right, academic honesty. Basically, don't cheat. We know. And that's pretty much it. And there's the course calendar down here. All right, so the final thing that I want to focus on in this kind of preview, we got the discussion rubric right here. That just tells you about the discussions. It's very simple. If you go to chapter 1, you're going to see that already there is a quiz, and there is a discussion, and then there are the lecture slides that I just finished preparing. So you can find all that stuff here. You're going to find incoming videos down here below all of this. So you can find that there too. So generally what I recommend is to open up the slides and then watch the video with them. Make notes as you go along throughout those videos. And then whenever you're done with that, then tackle these other 2 assignments later on. This first discussion, and remember these are not due this Sunday, but the Sunday after that. This discussion, very simple, very straightforward. It's kind of an icebreaker. I just want you to kind of talk a little bit about yourself. Because this is online, it's not always easy to get to know people online. I find sometimes you get to know them even better than the people that you meet in class, but here this gives us an opportunity to kind of individualize ourselves. And then we have the research quizzes. Those are not posted. They actually exist. I'm going to show you something. I'm going to show you a trick. They're there, but I don't have them available to you, so you can find them there. That's what they'll look like, but you can't see them yet. I don't want you to jump into those just yet. The same with the exams. Those will be there too. But that's basically everything. That's the crash course. The next video that you'll see posted is going to basically dive into chapter 1 of our textbook, and I'm super excited about it because I'm very enthusiastic about this material. All right, so I think that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you in the discussion forums.